This is CityCast Twin Cities. I'm Sean McPherson, and here's what the cities are talking about today. What's one Halloween costume that would only make sense in Minnesota?
I think you could really crush at a Halloween party here if you did a couple's costume where one of you was a bag of old Dutch chips and the other one was a tub of Top the Tater.
Yes.
I just think that would be huge.
Power couple.
Today we're talking about Minneapolis' rise in rodent rankings. I'd like to add, notably absent, St. Paul. We're also going to cover restaurants within restaurants, and we're going to take a wider look at the growing problem of homelessness in the Twin Cities. I'm joined by M. Cassel, a contributor here at CityCast and an owner-editor at Racket. Hey, Em.
Hey, Sean.
I'm also joined by CityCast producer Tiffany Bui. Hey, Tiffany.
Hello, Sean.
We'd also like to welcome an additional guest onto this episode of CityCast Twin Cities, the loud cat Ripley from M's house. How you doing, Ripley?
She says, meow.
We have great news for people who love rats. What is this all about, Tiffany?
Okay, rat lovers, you freaks. So I first saw this on CBS Minnesota. According to Orkin, which is a pest control company, Minneapolis is the 9th rattiest city in the United States. We're up from 7th place last year. And according to this list of 50, LA is number 1. Chicago is number 2. Chicago has been the top of the list for the past 10 years they've done this study. And if you're wondering, New York is number 3. Side note about that, when I went to visit my friend in New York, he had like trash cans in front of his apartment. And I was looking at them and he was like, yeah, we got that recently. And by that, he meant trash cans. So if you're wondering why they have a rat problem,
it's all fallen into place.
Might be the lack of trash cans. You guys seen any mice in your house recently as it gets cooler?
I don't get too many mice. I also have 2 very efficient cats.
I had mice, and I think we've taken care of it. We've gone through 2 winters without any significant mice situations. I am not 100% positive that I have ever seen a rat in the quote-unquote wild in my life. I think I've maybe seen a big mouse. The only reason I know I've seen a rat in the wild is because I played in Washington, D.C. and parked behind the Black Cat, and plenty of rats. The first thing I did when you sent this, Tiffany, was I just got to make sure DC's above us, and then I'll believe everything else they say in this article. But are you positive you've seen a rat in your life?
No. And by the way, I think Orkin is lumping in mice and rats. They're a different species.
Very different. Yeah. Seeing a rat is a way more jarring experience than seeing a mouse.
Mm-hmm. Yes. A mouse is like, aw. And a rat is like, call the authorities.
Yeah.
A man is in my house. Let's dig into this data. Okay. Before we put too much weight behind this rat study, again, this list is from a pest control company. So Orkin is a national pest control company. And this data is from their calls that they've done for rodent services in specifically owner-occupied residents. So we're talking about homeowners from August 20th, 2024 to August 21st, 2025. So this is all based on calls that they're doing. And interestingly, they have 12 locations spread out across Minnesota, including the Twin Cities. So I'm sort of wondering if this is just based on where they have the most locations. From a Reddit search, it also seems like their services are pretty expensive. Everyone's saying I was quoted to $300 on the first call, which is pretty shocking. I've never had to get rid of or pay for rodent control in my home, so I don't know. But also leaving out apartments is really interesting. That's where they be. That's where they are.
$200 to $300 seems absolutely reasonable to me. I am not on these Reddit threads, but this is not as a homeowner. I'm just saying, Tiffany, if you were like, I'll give you $50 to kill a rat, I would pass. I will be needing some more money than that. These people have a very difficult job. Okay. I mean, maybe Orkin is pocketing a lot of it and not paying the people, but to go, can you kill these rats and make sure they don't come back? And they go, oh, it's $250. Done.
How much would we have to pay you to kill a rat, Sean?
Yeah, how much? What's the rate?
What's the rate?
Am I in an environment where I am equipped with weapons and the rat is in a cage?
Yes.
Okay. I think I would kill a rat for $750.
Wow, steep.
I also like that you framed it like you are you're WWEing the rat. You're in a cage with just rat. The rat.
The thing is, if it's a fair fight, I am somewhat nervous that the rat would kill me because I have this immense fear of the smallest. I'm afraid a mouse will kill me. My wife is largely in charge of all rodent related issues in our house, even like a big bug. I'm reaching out to Rachel. I am very nervous that I will die, so I need to be compensated properly for my risk.
I get that.
How do you guys feel about this ranking now that you've heard about where it comes from? Because, Minneapolis hasn't gotten some good press coverage. So to hear that we're like the 9th rattiest city is rough.
I'm not taking it too personally. I feel like I've seen way more rats in other cities. I know we're not that ratty.
You were from Philadelphia, right? And
yeah, there's rats everywhere.
Okay. As a person who has done a lot of morning radio, I get this thing like, look, they make these fake studies and then people say the name of the company. And to some extent, everybody wins. Like, I'm having a good time having this conversation. I hope people enjoy getting this information. But no part of me is going, I should set out more rat traps. This is actually a problem. It's just, I'm fine. It's not scientifically accurate, and that's fine. It's just rats.
Yeah, we'll stop saying the name. It's Borkin. One more question to close this out. Would you rather have rats in your house or roaches?
Rats.
Okay.
Don't even need to think about it.
Roaches.
Really?
Yeah.
Your thing with like small rodents is like my thing with bugs. I can't do it.
Personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
I have roaches in my house now.
Oh, Tiffany, no.
And at least if there were rats, I could have a pet. But I have someone who's not paying rent.
You just can't name the roaches the same way.
No. There's one like permanently living in the clock of my stovetop. So every time I go check the time, it's like legs are there.
See, that's what I'm talking about. A rat could never get in there.
Exactly.
Does the roach ever make it that you read the time wrong? Like, does the roach's body ever make you think 3 o'clock is 8 o'clock and you think you're super late?
No, but can you imagine? Sorry, Anna, I'm late. It was roach o'clock.
What I do really want to hear from you is what you can do if you do have a mice problem. I really hope people don't have rat problems in their homes. I hope that is actually skewing the data. But if you have mice, what have you actually done that has worked to get those out of your house? So please reach out to us and let us know if you have any hacks for getting rid of really rodents at all in your home, or for any roaches that are in your stove. Hit us up, 612-217-0637. You could also leave us a voicemail or send us a text. We have more news to discuss, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. When I was in my 20s, I went on a vacation to an all-inclusive Mexican resort, and it was one of the most affordable options that was available to me and my girlfriend at the time. And it said we have 5 spectacular restaurants, and that was absolute fraudulent advertising, because when I got there, they had 2 kitchens, and they just changed the name and they put up the sign, and like the same waiter would come out the next day and he'd be like, Buona Duce, welcome to the Italian restaurant. And then the next day it would be like a Chinese restaurant, same Mexican dude serving largely the same like Cisco food. And at times when restaurants start masquerading where they go, at night we're a burger bar and now we've turned into this, I get these things of like, you know what, actually, like a place should be a place. A pizza place should be a pizza place at 11 in the morning, and it should be a pizza place at 9 at night. On the other hand, there's been some really great food that might not have been possible if they actually had to have a dedicated brick and mortar thing. And you actually went out to one of these restaurant within a restaurant things recently, and it seems like it was a little bit better than my Mexican resort experience. Can you give us a little bit of the background on this, Em?
It's true. Yes. I hope to convince you that they are not all like the Mexican resort restaurant. A few weekends ago, I went and I got a pizza from it's new. It's called Moonflower Pizza in St. Paul's Cathedral Hill, but it's not actually like new. So Moonflower started as a pandemic pop-up that the French Hen Cafe on Selby Avenue was doing. They were slinging pizzas out of their alley when they couldn't like serve brunch because restaurants were closed. They're bringing back Moonflower Pizza as of last month. It is a nighttime pizza restaurant that's currently open Thursdays through Saturdays, and French Hen still does its typical breakfast and brunch stuff during the daytime hours. It's been a long time coming. They like really put in a lot of work to make this happen. And I loved it. I did not feel that I was being tricked by the flip of a sign on the door. They're taking the pizza very seriously. It doesn't feel like just a slapdash thing that they like threw together.
Yeah, it's like a baby with no object permanence. You're like, whoa, and now I'm a pizza parlor. Whoa, and now I have ice cream.
Exactly.
Pizza is risky though, Em. Pizza requires a lot of unique things. It's you can't go, oh, now we're going to do a stir fry. You want pizza ovens to work at generally a very different temperature than you need for most other food. Does the pizza measure up? And do you think they have the equipment to actually make high quality pizza?
100%. So I spoke with their general manager who told me that basically they wanted to start doing Moonflower more consistently like several years ago. And part of the reason it took so long is that they needed to get a 30,000-pound pizza oven into this little cafe in St. Paul, which they eventually did. It's super cool. And they actually decorated it with all the food at this restaurant is served on Fiestaware, which I'm a fan of, those big colorful plates. They had a shelf that fell down, all the Fiestaware broke, and they saved it and they used it to tile the pizza oven. How cute is that? So they like really put in a lot of work. They did a lot to make sure that the pizzas are not just like something that they're throwing out. It's like really great, really high quality, house-made mozzarella and local ingredients. And I loved it.
What did you order, Em?
I got 2 pizzas. I did a classic like margarita. I just thought that's like a good way to judge the quality of it. Like you cannot hide your mistakes with a classic marg. And then I also got my personal favorite of the 2 was the Sergeant Pepper. It was like a pepperoni that also had mushrooms and like pickled red peppers and all kinds of other stuff on it. It was so good. Like it was the kind of pizza that you like the next day you wake up and you're like, I wish I was eating that pizza again.
Oh my gosh. You don't have to convince me. I like a restaurant inside a restaurant. I like to be somewhere and be like, whoa, there's another layer to this.
Tiffany and I will go get pizza, Sean, and you're not invited.
I'm going to try it. Like you had me at pickled peppers. I will try this place for sure.
Also, Sean, your rant at the beginning was very old man yells at cloud. You're like, I hate when I'm here for a thing and it's a different thing. I've been hoodwinked.
It should be the same thing.
Which is fair. It's fair.
I'm sure the server was like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm just a server at this resort. Will you please pick what Italian dish you want? And I'm sure I was even old man yelling at cloud when I was in my 20s. There's phenomenons connected to these sort of restaurants within a restaurant. People in the pandemic were always talking about ghost kitchens. Is this separate from a ghost kitchen or is this connected?
I think it's kind of like an evolution of that where ghost kitchens I always kind of like think of as like derogatory in parentheses. It's like this is a restaurant that's not really a restaurant at all. It's like a kitchen that's serving food for DoorDash orders,
Okay.
Which is not the case all the time. But like that's my old man yells at cloud opinion. But there are more and more places that we're seeing that are kind of doing restaurants within a restaurant. Like Juk Sing is this amazing modern Chinese American kind of fusion. And they've been popping up at a couple different places throughout the Twin Cities right now. I think they're at Bar Brava. And like that is just some great food that I would recommend to anyone. We got the news that Dahlia, very beloved pop-up bakery, is going to be doing a daytime shift inside of Minnesota Nice Cream in Northeast, and they're going to be there at night. And I just think this is like a really fun way to, I don't know, refresh a space that maybe otherwise is feeling a little stagnant or a little stale, and just like get people in the door during a time when otherwise you would just be closed. No one needs ice cream at 11 a.m. except maybe myself.
Hey, you could be in good company. I did want to shout out Red Coral Coffee. You mentioned this when we were offline inside of Okome House. I love Okome House. They have a really good like onigiri combo special where you can get 3 different rice balls and then a side of like salad and soup. So good. But their Red Coral Coffee is serving like really good like hojicha and matcha. I got like hojicha flavored with strawberry, and my friends and I have a debate of like when hojicha is going to pop off the same way I did with matcha. And for me, I'm saying like give it 2 or 3 years. We're going to know it's hitting when Starbucks starts serving it. But what do you like about Red Coral Coffee?
Oh, it just has a great, like, I can go there and work. I've had interviews there. I was just there earlier this week. Like, they have a great cardamom latte if anyone is into cardamom as a flavor. And the folks who run it are just very sweet, very welcoming. I think it just seems like such a natural fit. Like I already really like the hospitality at Okame House, and I think extending that to the daytime hours is like a no-brainer.
Yeah. And you've watched the restaurant industry like through its rises and falls, especially during the pandemic. I'm curious if these pop-ups are a business strategy, because really all I hear from business owners is how expensive it is to run a business, especially like a restaurant.
100%. The folks with Dahlia were, I think, in speaking with the Star Tribune, said basically like, we've been looking for a space for a few years. We've been doing this as a pop-up for 3 years now. And like looking for a physical space that you yourself are going to occupy as a small business or a restaurant is daunting. Like the amount of money and infrastructure and investment you have to put into a lease is like really a lot. So if you can say, hey, Minnesota Ice Cream already has this building and they just don't need to use it all the time and we can slide in there, it's a natural. It's a win-win.
Yeah. And what if you open a restaurant, there's a rat problem?
Exactly. Borkin, we need your help.
Borkin, immediately.
You know what? Borkin could sponsor CityCast Twin Cities, a new pest control place called Borkin. Tiffany and Em, I do not aspire to be as cool as you, but I hope to be a little cooler than Starbucks. So can you tell me what Hojika is so the next time it comes up, I have a passing clue as to whether we're talking about a beverage or an entree, etc.?
First of all, I think it's Hojicha. Hojicha, Sean.
Hojicha, thank you.
It's like if you took matcha and roasted it. It feels like matcha's like cool older sister.
Tell us about your beverage's cool older sisters by texting or leaving us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. We have another story from Racket to discuss, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. We spend a lot of time thinking about what the Twin Cities do best, but it is worth thinking about what we do worst. And we might do housing and homelessness the worst. But don't worry, we're getting even more worse. In fact, right now, the Twin Cities has the largest proportional increase of evictions in the country since 2020, and it's not by a thin margin. It's a very large increase in evictions when compared to other cities and when compared to our history. And we're also making these mistakes in one of the most dangerous places on earth to do it. There's a lot of nights in the Twin Cities where if you're outside overnight, you die. And that's just not the case in most metro areas in the world. And a lot of folks in the Twin Cities, and certainly myself, look the other way at these problems or think of them as intractable. I'll walk past a person in a sleeping bag on Lyndale, or I'll give a smile and nothing out of my own funds to somebody who's asking for money at a freeway exit. And Caroline Jackson wrote a long, really well-done piece for Racket that opens the lens wider and looks at homelessness with a lot of different perspectives. And Em from Racket, who assigned and helped edit this piece, has more. Em, can you tell me a little bit about assigning this piece and how it all came about?
Absolutely. Yeah. Caroline came to us with the idea for doing a story about the folks who work and who hold down jobs while they're homeless, which is also really important and I think like a worthy kind of separate story. But what we ended up working through and figuring out is kind of like a piece that takes a look at the sheer difficulty of getting housing once you have become unhoused. The fact that there is so little affordable or deeply affordable housing available to people in the Twin Cities. The fact that you really have to have all of your ducks in a row to make it happen. Like you have to be taking your medications and sober from drugs and just all of these things that have to be true for a really consistent time. The fact that you have to have access to transportation often to get to these appointments and to fill out the paperwork that is required of you to try to access accessible housing. It's just so much has to go right. And I think sometimes we think of people who are unhoused, we're like, well, that's their problem. This is a situation that it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And you talk to some of these people who have themselves been unhoused and who have been looking for housing, and you're like, it's really hard. It is so hard. And to hear from some of these folks about, often they're dealing with medical issues that keep them from working or make it difficult to work. They have other challenges that they're facing that have just really exacerbated these problems. It's like heartbreaking, but also very eye-opening to just hear like these are what real people are up against with trying to find housing in the Twin Cities.
One thing they mention in the piece, or Caroline mentions in the piece, is a new gold standard, or a relatively new gold standard of service called wraparound services. And one of my big takeaways from the piece was this idea that you can't just address one thing. Even the housing first idea, which a lot of people are in favor of, myself included, struggles because you deal with housing, but you might not deal with employment. You deal with housing, but you might not deal with medication. What is wraparound services trying to address for people who are facing some element of precarity or homelessness?
Yeah, it's basically taking all of those things that you mentioned and trying to be more of a holistic approach, so that rather than going here for one thing that you need and here for one thing that you need, like, it's taking a more complete approach to handling that, and hopefully making it easier and more accessible for folks to get the services that they need.
I really appreciate this piece by Carolyn Jackson, and also appreciate you assigning it, because it is such a clear story about how just finding a house isn't enough. And even though there is wraparound services here, one person still spent like 6 months waiting for permanent housing. And something that stood out, like a statistic that stood out to me from this story, is that according to the National Low Income Housing Coalition's report, our metro area has a deficit of around 72,000 affordable and available units for the lowest income person alone. And for every 100 very low income renters looking for an apartment, only 34 are available and affordable. And I know I poked fun at New York, but like, that's just as bad as trying to find a place in New York. And the way that one social worker and writer that Carolyn interviewed, Kevin, said, Minneapolis is a pretty good place to be a little poor, but it's as bad as anywhere to be really poor. And I was wondering what you both made of that, because I've always understood Minnesota to be very generous in its social services, but it sounds like when you're very poor, you're just living on that margin. Like, I've lived on low income housing. I benefited from a lot of government programs to afford things, and more than that, to move up in the economic ladder and like eventually make more than my mom, right? Which is the dream. But I'm recognizing now that I had all these things work for me in a way that doesn't seem to, or you have less leeway for things to go wrong when you're at that like bottom income bracket.
100%. There were so many powerful quotes from this story that I have just thought about over the last week. One was from a social worker, Izzy McLaughlin, I think was their name, who said basically people don't make good choices, they have good choices. Like, you cannot good choice your way out of extreme poverty. It cannot be done. Like, you have to have a support network, and you have to have a way to claw yourself out of that position. And I think, the Twin Cities, to Sean's earlier point, does a lot of stuff really well. I'm proud to live here, and I think this is a great part of the country, but I do think this is one area where we are really struggling. To Kevin's quote, like, it is as bad as anywhere to be really poor here. And it seems like we can do more to step up.
Tiffany, I think we are a very generous place, and we are a very conditionally generous place, and a very appearance-based generous place. If there's a gala to be thrown, we will be there. And if that is going to throw off some benefits for a group of people who need that support, wonderful. But sometimes with these really intractable, painful problems, it's not gala worthy, right? We're not going to go like, we're doing a gala to help Clyde, who is struggling in his 30s to see these things. And it doesn't have the attention grabbing things that I feel like the nonprofit world in Minnesota so thrives on. And in Minnesota, we want no one to know about what we do unless we're doing good. And then we want to shout it from the rooftop and go, look at exactly what I did. And sometimes these stories are complicated and messy. And again, they're not gala friendly. So I feel like the nonprofit class of the Twin Cities doesn't throw their whole chest into it the way they do things that really are just all pure success stories. It seems so convoluted that people are afraid to put their money there.
The gala class. Yeah. What are some organizations, like grassroots efforts, you've seen here in the Twin Cities that are like really on the ground working on this?
It's a great question. So I kind of asked my colleague Jessica Armbruster, who did a lot of the editing on this story, what what should people who are concerned about this do? And she kind of said, like in terms of the stuff we're talking about here, in terms of getting people who need help into housing, it's probably not a thing that you as an everyday person can help out with. Instead, her advice was sort of advocating for change more broadly in your life, saying with your whole chest, like, it should not be illegal to be homeless. We should not be tearing dump trucks through communities of unhoused people. Like, we shouldn't let politicians act like they're trying to make change when these things, we see statistically that these issues are going unaddressed or underaddressed. There's kind of a lot that you can do on an advocacy level. And then there are groups who would benefit greatly from your volunteer hours, your donations. I'm thinking about groups like Simpson Housing Services. There's the Avivo Village. Agate Housing and Services is another one. There's People Serving People. There are great nonprofits and people who are trying to get folks into housing in whatever way they can. I think if you literally just Googled like housing services Minneapolis, housing services St. Paul, you could find a group near you that is trying very hard to ensure that people have access to the housing that they deserve.
Thank you for the story, Em, and thank you to Jessica for doing some of the editing, and also to Caroline for really creating a great piece. And that comes out, that came out yesterday in Racket, right?
Yes, correct. You could read it at racketmn.com right now.
Tiffany, I understand you're ready to take a stab at our mailbag theme song today?
Okay, I had to listen to Anna sing it again, but I forgot it. So I'm gonna riff. I'm gonna go, mailbag.
It's only getting better. It's only getting better. And it's also getting better that we're hearing voicemails from listeners now. Is it true that we got a voicemail in the inbox, Tiffany?
Yes. Thank you, Liz from West St. Paul, who asked a very good question. So we're going to take a listen.
Hi, Sean. This is Liz from the west side of St. Paul. I have a random question for the mailbag. I was thinking about how my favorite view of St. Paul is from the Smith Avenue Bridge, especially now with the beautiful fall colors. When the sun is setting, the view of the river lined by the red and gold trees is unbeatable. I want to know, what do you think is the most beautiful place in the Twin Cities any time of year?
That is a great question. Also, Minneapolis people are very lucky because you always have a beautiful view of the city next to you, which is fantastic. But we'd love to know where your favorite spots to see fall color are. Give us a call or text us 612-217-0637. You can also take a photo and then tag us on Instagram, CityCast Twin Cities. We'd love to feature those photos in our newsletter or on a future episode. And thanks so much to everybody who's already reached out. We really do love hearing from you. That's all for today here on CityCast Twin Cities. I'm your host, Sean McPherson. Em, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to be here.
Before we go, we have a special segment brought to you by our partners at Cassel Energy. I'm joined by executive producer Anna Weigel. Anna, are you a hockey girl?
Thank you for asking. Okay, I have been to a hockey game. It was amazing, and I can ice skate. I have never tried holding a stick while I ice skate, and I feel like that's a big part of hockey. Is that right?
I think you'll have some trouble if you can't hold the stick.
Are you a hockey girl, Sean?
I can't ice skate. I have never held a hockey stick, and I've been to one Wild game. Most of my connections to Minnesota Wild are me and you going and eating free food before the season started when we worked at the Current. So yeah, I don't think I'm deep on hockey.
One of my favorite all-time Sean and Anna memories.
Okay. Now, Cassel Energy has named the first recipient of its new youth hockey grant, and they're already opening up a call for nominations for the next recipient.
The company has sponsored the Minnesota Wild for the past 25 years. That's my age, Sean.
When divided by 2, and also just to show how green you are in the world of hockey, that is the total age of the Minnesota Wild. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary. So your true colors as a real hockey fan are showing through.
And now they're teaming up with them on a new program called Community Power Play.
Is this a power play that'll get you in the penalty box?
I don't know, but that's a great topical joke. So it's a season-long program that deepens Cassel Energy and the Wild's commitment across Minnesota by growing the game of hockey throughout the state by encouraging youth hockey associations to apply for financial assistance. And this month, Cassel Energy named the winner of this season's first period Get this, the Richfield Little Spartans.
There is a full kids movie lined up. Just you read that title, and I feel like the right, script writer would just go, "I got this covered."
Absolutely. Okay, listen to this. We get to actually hear them receiving the news. Here we go.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing news. This has been such a journey to get this program started, and this grant will be absolutely huge for our families. My head is spinning right now because this is huge for us. This will have an absolutely transformational impact on what we're trying to do.
I'm told the Little Spartans plan to use the $10,000 grant to fund scholarships and buy equipment for families.
My heart is warming. There's parts of my heart that didn't even work that are finally activated.
Yep.
I got to tell you, if someone in your network is involved with youth hockey in Minnesota, encourage them to apply for a grant. The second period applications are open from November 1st to December 15th, and this one focuses on financial assistance to cover ice time expenses, making hockey accessible to more Minnesota kids.
Toward the end of the hockey season, once the winners of all 3 periods are announced, fans can vote on who they think is most deserving of a grand prize.
I think we all learned a little something today. Anna, did you also learn that there's 3 periods in a hockey game, or did you know that already?
It went in my brain and immediately out.
Now, when you want to learn more about this particular opportunity, just search Xcel Energy Community Power Play today.
Okay, now I kind of want to play hockey.
Okay, next team building event, are we going to get out on the ice?
Maybe.
You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Twin Cities newsletter. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with a mouse? We'll see you back here tomorrow for more news from around the city.